The board is ready. I'd like to call this meeting to order. I'm not using the gavel. Today is the day and time set for the November meeting of the Westland Planning Commission. At this time, I'd like to invite all attendees to rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. Thank you very much. Administration, roll call, please.
Durante? Present. Bolts?
Present.
Hobbs?
Present.
Hopkins?
Present.
Richards?
Present.
Rounds? Present. Statchow?
Present.
Focus?
Present.
And Graffenworth?
Obviously present. Thank you very much. I'll now entertain a motion for approval of the minutes for the August 7th, 2024 meeting.
So moved.
Recognizing Swokus for the motion and Ruby Richards for the support. All those in favor, please indicate so. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Abstaining? Hearing none. Motion passes. Approval of minutes is approved. At this time, this is the point in our on our agenda for citizens' comments. This is not for comments on specific items. These are general comments and or to request additional items added to our agenda. I believe agendas are at the podium if you are unaware of what our business agenda looks like for today. Anyone on my right? Seeing none. Anyone on my left? Anyone from the board?
Yes, Chairman, I would like to do a change of order of the day, and this would be in regards to our December meeting, and to have that changed from Tuesday the 3rd to Wednesday the 4th.
Understood. The chair is aware of the request, and the request will be honored. It will be added to the agenda as item number 6 after our primary business agenda, without objection. If there is any objection, please speak so now. Hearing none, the orders of the day has been changed. Item 6 is now for your discussion.
Okay, and
Thank you very much. Is that
okay? Thank you. That's fine.
We'll now proceed on to our agenda items. First up is case number 1220A, proposed site plan and special land use approval for a self-storage and retail development at A535 North Inkster Road, north of Ann Arbor Trail, south of Joy. Applicant Nasser, I'm so sorry, I'm going to butcher this, Choser? Thank you. Administration, can you please tell us a little bit about this case?
Yes, thank you, Chair. The subject property here comprises of about 1 acre. It's zone CB3, general commercial business. The petitioner is seeking approval to construct a retail plaza at the front of the property and a 3-story self-storage facility at the rear of the property. I'll go into further detail of what that looks like on the site plan in a moment. The self-storage facility, I don't know if Cable can hear me, but my mic's not. Yeah, I just asked Cable to turn on my mic if they can.
Is that something I have control of here?
That should be a sample.
Test. We can hear you.
Testing. All right, sorry folks. Okay, I'll just restart this.
Thank you.
You're welcome, of course. The subject property here, it's outlined on the TV in yellow on your left and right-hand sides. The subject property is about 1 acre in size. It's zone CB3, that's our general commercial business district. The petitioner tonight is seeking approval to construct a retail plaza at the front of the property near Inkster Road, and at the rear of the property, closer to the residential, seeking approval to construct a 3-story self-storage facility. The self-storage facility requires site plan and special land use approval, and the retail plaza requires only site plan approval. I'd like to highlight the adjacent land uses and their zoning. Property to the north is zone CB3, general commercial, and is developed by a single-family dwelling. Property to the south is CB3 as well, but developed with Dave's Engine and Mower Store. Property to the east, it's located in the city of Dearborn Heights, across from Inkster on the east side, and developed with an apartment complex, Carriage Park Apartments. And on the west side there, of course, you could see the residential single-family dwellings zoned R5, single-family residential. The future land use map designation for this property is neighborhood commercial and office services. Going into detail of what the site plan looks like, it's on the screen there for the residents in the audience. The site will utilize a one-way circulation pattern, so patrons will enter here. Let me turn this on 1 second. Right here. And basically, like I said, just one way around the site for maneuvering, and exiting will be provided here. This one-way circulation pattern will be marked, so there will be signs on the entry side, do not enter, or I'm sorry, do not exit, and then on the exit side, do not enter, facing Inkster. The uses within the proposed plaza are unknown at this time, but are expected to generate additional traffic to the area. Obviously, right now, the site is vacant. The self-storage facility, however, is not expected to generate a significant amount of traffic. We have learned through the past few months some information about self-storage facilities. They're pretty much dormant for most of the day. The zoning ordinance requires a minimum of 31 off-street parking spaces for this project. The site contains 40 off-street parking spaces, so that is compliant with the code. There is sufficient parking and access on-site for the buildings and proposed uses. The site proposes significant landscaping and buffering areas throughout the site. This is a little bit hard to see for our audience. There's a 20-foot wide landscaping buffer containing trees and a 6-foot tall masonry wall proposed between the residential properties approximately here and the property. The 6-foot tall wall for the residents will be on the property line in the rear, basically the backyards. And this is the 20-foot separation barrier that I'm referring to here, with some evergreens planted along that property line there. The site also contains screening and landscaping along the Inkster Street side and throughout the parking areas of the site in conformance with the zoning ordinance requirements for landscaping. The proposed retail plaza will be constructed primarily with brick and some EFIS materials. The proposed storage facility will be constructed primarily with brick and metal paneling materials. Elevation drawings are up on the screen. For the most part, the project is complying with the bulk requirements, which include setback, lot coverage, and building height for the retail plaza. However, for the self-storage building, the building height does need a variance. The maximum allowed is equal to the distance to the nearest property line, and the side property line is 27 feet away from the building, which allows only a 27-foot tall building. Proposed is a 53-foot tall building. Parking, this is the other variance. Parking is not permitted within 25 feet of the front property line. This is the property line along Inkster. And they are not complying with that 25-foot separation for the unsheltered parking. Those are the two variances that are required. It is the planning department's opinion that this special land use will not be detrimental to the development of the surrounding commercial Inkster Road properties, as they are zoned CB3, and their future land use designation aligns with this property as well. There will be little impact, we believe, on the residential properties, specifically speaking about the nature of the use of the self-storage facility being a low impact, low trafficked use. And the administration and planning department are recommending approval subject to the required variances being granted by the Zoning Board of Appeals. Our petitioner's here tonight. Looks like he has a couple guests with him, and I'm happy to answer any questions on behalf of the administration if you need. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd like to ask the petitioner to step up to the podium. Hi, petitioner.
Good evening.
Before we begin, we did receive a couple of communications from citizens nearby and I wanted to read them into the record while you could be here to hear them. The first comes from Monique Dotson. Is Monique in the? Monique, I'm going to let you speak to your own letter, but we did receive it. We did read it. Thank you very much. The other one is Roy Lubis. Is Roy Lubis present? He indicated that he would not be here. So I'm not going to dox Mr. Lubis. However, I will begin. I'm writing this email to voice my concern about the proposed development of a commercial property like the storage facility being proposed, which is very concerning to me and my fellow neighbors. I'm sure he intended quiet, neighborhood will be no longer desirable if a storage facility becomes our backyard neighbors. People will be in and out of there all hours of the day and possibly night, bright lights few feet away from our homes, making it very uncomfortable to be in our own homes, not to mention the noise of moving heavy objects in and out of storage units, making all kinds of noises. Please take our concerns into consideration, and he's requesting that we decline the business proposal, and we respect his opinion. I do note that we often hear this sort of sentiment, and of course I bring it up just so that his voice is heard. So do you have anything to add to the presentation by the administration?
Well, thank you very much. You literally you spoke with everything I was going to tonight, so you did fantastic. Thank you. Couple of points I'd like to make. My name is Rob. I'm with NC Designers. The owner is a local owner. With that, this facility is not going to be owned by a corporation out of state. It's going to be professionally maintained by the owner. He lives in the community. He is a local business owner, and his family lives in the community. So this is a community. This is just as much for Westland as it is for everybody else. Since he's local, concerns will be handled quickly. It's not going to be it's not going to be an out-of-state or a corporate type of entity. He'll be on the premises regularly. The property will be professionally maintained at all times. This will be a tax base for the community. And we're willing to work with the residents to address any concerns that anybody has. We are here to work with our new neighbors and not against you. So we welcome any concerns. We'll try to get through those. I guess with that to add, is that we will be looking at installing a fencing and barricade between the property, the residences and the facility. We will plant vegetation and fast-growing trees to reduce the noise and any sight lines. We can discuss operating hours and such as that, and obviously the retail end of that would obviously have to comply with city ordinance when it comes to the retail. The storage facility is literally indoor, so it's you drive inside the building and everything is accessible inside the building. So no one's gonna be, loading or unloading property or their possessions outside of the facility. Everything's inside. So with that, there should be very little noise. And obviously we're gonna have controlled times, so no one's gonna be able to access this property 24 hours a day. That's not gonna happen. There are partially controlled or partially climate controlled units, so not the whole facility, but some of it. Obviously we would work with the city regarding sight lines and such like that. And obviously we know this is a large building, but we try to obviously keep down noise, keep down the site, keep the property looking well, and bring some improvements to the city.
Thank you very much. I am going to ask you to take a seat. This is a special land use, which means that we do have an opportunity for the citizens to be recognized and be heard on this matter, which we usually do anyways. But once they've spoken their minds and you've had an opportunity to hear them, we'll call you back up, and the commission would almost certainly like to speak to you. So I'll start with Monique. If you could please step up, identify yourself.
Hi, my name is Monique Dotson. I own the home at 8560 Cavell, which is directly behind where this facility would be. It's been my family since 1957 when my father purchased it. And my concern is, we love our neighborhood. It's a quiet, tucked away Westland, community. And perhaps, we didn't know, and that was one of my questions, if it was going to be a single or multi-story unit. And seeing that, it just takes me aback, because I just like to have sight line, to be able to go right through, and that kind of worries me. The hours of operation, it's a quiet neighborhood. We like to keep it that way. Security, that's something that hadn't been brought up yet, is like, what's the security for the facility? Is there going to be an on-site living quarters? Sometimes some of these units have that. Lighting. We currently have a storage facility unit on Joy Road, which houses campers and things like that. Those LED lights are shining in my bedroom every day, every night. It shines on people over on Cardwell Street as well. So if I have this already shining on me at night, I don't want something directly behind me and me getting them from both ends. Now hearing that it's going to be a 3-story unit, that's going to be even higher. How is that that's going to affect us totally. I don't sit there and want to have to purchase room darkening curtains for everything and have it be just my house lit up. I don't want to go take a suntan in the backyard at midnight. That is a huge concern for me. The easement of the property. So does the existing fence that we have on the property remain? That's something that I'm concerned with. And how far back off of that do we have a buffer? I see they said they wanted to plant trees and things like that, but this is where all the traffic's going to be coming through the back road. Now, if they're going to plant fast-growing trees, again, I know with landscaping or however they're going to do that, how far apart in the growth will the root system affect my garage? Those are things that, as a homeowner, I'm all concerned about. So the tree line, so the existing tree line that's there, I'm guessing they're going to tear that all down? That's, a concern. We have lots of wildlife that goes back through there, and they use that path from Hines Park to come over too. So water retention. Years past, I've spoke to Chris from Neighborhood Services. Every year I call Chris because the grass isn't cut. So he has to call them. He's been in my backyard several times. looking at the property, how high the grass is. Knowing that offset now, what's it going to be? If he's going to be the one who's going to be taking care of the property, that's a concern because I've had to call every year about the property. And I had sent pictures to Nicole about the water that's back there. So currently in springtime, it's a huge, huge pond. And if they're building it, I don't want that water then, once retaining walls or such are built, that comes, it filters into my backyard. So a lot of times with storage units and facilities, there's a rodent issue. So I just want to make sure that's something that's going to be on his agenda, or whatever happens with this property, that's going to be addressed as well. And I'm just truly, we love our community. We love our neighborhood. We hang out all the time together. We're great neighbors. And just the value of our homes. I don't want, to sit there and look at a structure that's going up to the sky. And I just wish that it wouldn't happen at all, but if something does happen, I just wish that it would be a single story of anything, retail space or what have you, and hours of operation too. I've seen some units out there, they only go till 7 o'clock, some, a little later, but again, traffic is traffic. So that's pretty much what I kind of have to say.
Administration, please correct me if I'm off base on any of this, and of course, if you have any commentary after. I believe that by statute, all lighting, industrial lighting is supposed to be downcast. If there is lighting that is not downcast, I believe you should contact code enforcement or the building and planning department.
There's a lighting ordinance. All lighting has to be 1 foot candle or less at the property line. So if there's a current issue with any of the properties, please let Chris know. Sounds like.
Okay.
There's no reason you should have to tolerate that if there is an ordinance that should be being followed. All new development requires stormwater to be retained on property. And that's one of the advantages of having a new development is the old non-regulated standards are replaced with a new regulated standard that would actually improve stormwater retention. As far as the other things, hours of operation, of course, the developer will certainly speak to that when he gets an opportunity. Administration, did you have anything additional?
I think one of my big concerns was lighting, and I worked with Nasser on a couple revisions to his photometric plan, not only to get it down to the 1 foot candle at the property line, but also to remove some of like the tall snake lights in the back. So he's going to have scone lights basically on the wall of the buildings, and they will turn off at night. I heard about a rat issue. I don't think he's going to be storing any type of food in there or anything that would attract rodents, but he can speak on that. What else are we missing? Yes, stormwater is provided. All new developments in the city must comply with Wayne County stormwater ordinance to keep water on site, not only to keep it on site, but to store it and let it infiltrate through the system. So there should be no more ponding and no more water going onto your property from his property, if that's what's occurring there today.
As far as a masonry wall, will that be
Yeah.
like a solid, or, and how tall would that be, 6 feet it said?
The maximum allowed by our ordinance is 6 feet. That's what he's proposing. On the material, he may be willing to work with you. We, as the city, require a masonry block wall. If you want something different and he's willing to do that, then you can discuss that with me or the planning commission.
So you said that the variance of the 27 feet, that's still up for discussion?
The variance, if approved here, if the site plan, if this project is approved here tonight, the variance for the height will go to a different body called the Zoning Board of Appeals.
What's the width of the drive in the back? Do we know?
Width of the drive, 35, 6 inches. The minimum is 20.
And so again, those trees then for the landscape portion, that would be abutted to our fence? Or would that be an easement and then the trees?
There's no easement, this is all his property.
Okay, so it goes right to the fence? Our fences?
I assume your fence, if you want to keep your fence there, that's probably, I assume you want
Yeah,
to?
oh, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
and then there'll be a wall, and then there'll be the landscape strip, the 20 feet I was referring to, and then there'll be the trees within that landscape buffer, which is all on his property.
Okay,
There's
so
no
the wall
easement.
would be right at our fence line?
It would be at his property line, like,
Yeah.
yeah, right at your fence, on his property.
So there's no, like, where that is, where our property is, it's not like 10 feet this way and then you can start building?
He can build the wall on his property, whether he wants to move it
Okay.
over or not, that's
All right.
up to him.
Well, if we could get that, not the three-story, and we could, if that could be made sure that it was like lower, that would be more appealing to us, being that we're a residential behind us, and we've been there, an established community since the late 50s, you know?
The planning department, sorry if I'm
Oh.
speaking on a line.
Please continue.
This project has been in the pipeline for a year, and this site plan did not look like this when it was presented to us. There were a lot of concessions that had to be made by the petitioner for me to push this here in front of the Planning Commission to ensure that there was some level of mitigation to any concerns by the residents. There was no buffer strip. There were those lights I was telling you about. This project, when it was first presented, was just a really big storage facility without the plaza. So there's a lot of different iterations of this project that we've gone through for me to feel comfortable to presenting it here, and that's basically what we have in front of us today.
Well,
I
thank you.
would like to note that although we are making a decision today, this is a recommending body. Our decision here will almost certainly be contingent upon the appropriate variances being obtained at the ZBA, where this will be discussed again. And of course, no site plan is approved until it goes before the city council
Correct.
for approval, where of course you can be heard for your concerns. But beyond that, this forum is specifically for you to raise your concerns and the developer to hear them.
Sure.
And the developer definitely wants to hear, and he's stated on the record, and I believe his sincerity, that he wants to be a good neighbor, and he doesn't, it is not in his best interest to make a decision that makes you gasp in exasperation, certainly. So he's definitely going to want to hear you and discuss the metes and bounds of what he can and cannot do for the community that he's joining.
Okay.
So, if that concludes your,
Yes.
I'd like to move on.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Dodson.
Thank you.
Having heard from my right, anybody from my left?
Yes.
Please rise to the podium and be recognized.
My name is Sarah Stringer Hill, and I live at 8524 Cavell. And I'm about, 5 houses down from you? Yeah, 4 houses down from you. And so I will be affected too. And I'm sorry I didn't put anything in writing. But I've been there for 25 years. My daughter was 7, now she's 31. And like she said, and I piggyback on her, that community is a quiet community. And in the back of my house, there's a business, and the guy been there is a lawnmower service guy. He's been there for years. He's been there longer than I have. Okay, and And like she reiterated, the lighting. We're having problems now with our generator. Whenever the wind blow, DTE is in our neighborhood, and our power go out. So what I want to know is he's going to have this lighting up, how much is that going to draw from us? Okay? Because that's going to be an issue. Because the thing is, if anybody got there, if we all got our air conditioner running, or we got anything that the power goes out, that's something you guys have to consult with DTE. Because like I said, we all are close. In the summertime, we have power outages all the time. So that's going to take effect on us too if we have hot summers and we're running our generators, or, you know, the weather is bad. Not to mention that we all got different cable systems. And I got a satellite, and that might blow it out. So all that needs to take an effect also. So I think they need to be consulted, DTE, because we just had a blowout not too long ago. I don't know what happened. They was doing some construction, I believe. It went out for a hot second, because I keep up with it all the time, because it's more frequent now than it ever been, and I don't know why. But that's something, if you're having lights on 24/7, 7 days a week, how much is that going to draw from us? Okay, so that's something that you have to consider also. Also, I understand he said he's going to grow trees. I got trees in the back of my house. The guy, he cuts the grass, but nobody comes from the city and cut the trees. I have to do that. Those trees are, only time they ever come cut the trees is when I complain about it. But for the most part, it wasn't so bad this year, but they did cut last year. So, and then rodents. I understand he said there's not going to be a concern on her side, but what about my side? You know, and how far is the fence going to go? Is it going to extend to my house? That's what I'm saying. So I just think that you guys need to follow up and have someone to be with him to make sure everything he indicates that he's going to do, that he does for us. Because like I said, Nancy been in the neighborhood, I don't know how long. 25 years. 25 years, 35 years. Her father, good guy, Joe. I knew him. He knew my husband. And I'm living alone now. My husband is in assisted living. So, and I definitely don't want any concerns or issues because, you know, I have to maintain the house on myself. So that's the only concern I have is that the fact that now with DTE and all the power outages we've been having in the last few months, how much is that going to draw from us? Do you know? Is that something that was considered or taken in
Administration?
consideration?
I cannot speak for DTE, my mic's not working.
Your mic is now on.
Okay, thank you. Honestly, I don't know. He's going to connect to this public electrical lines, which were there when the previous business were there that served the entire city and the region. When DTE has issues, my understanding, it's primarily due to storms in the area. I know DTE is a contentious topic, but we do have a pretty good relationship that we've built over the years with them, and they do help us out with tree cutting in neighborhoods that need it. And they've been working to improve their system, but I think it's my professional opinion that the DTE system is more than capable of handling their two buildings that they want to build. If there's any issues that you are impacted by, it's more likely than not going to be a storm or potentially an outage due to their maintenance of their lines or anything like that.
Okay, what about internet? Because I had to switch my internet to Xfinity because I had something else because certain internet services don't carry it.
I think that that's a similar conversation. We're veering a little bit off the site plan and special land
Okay,
use
all
issues,
right.
but
I'm just saying in the future, that's something we need to look at.
Okay.
Because like I said, it draws from our whole neighborhood.
okay.
Okay, and like I said, sometimes depending on the weather. It's not always the weather, depending on if we're using our generators, we draw from it. So we have to look at the grid line and everything.
Okay.
Because we're gonna be affected, because that's another business now. Those businesses that are behind us are small-time business. They've been there a long time. They don't require a lot of power. He's gonna require a lot of power, and I need to know how much is that gonna take effect from us. That's something that we need to maybe investigate and look at.
Okay.
As far as that, like I said, I follow up with her as far as how far that fencing gonna go. And is it gonna go as far as how many houses? And he said he's gonna grow. I don't think we need any more trees. So he said he's gonna build trees, but if somebody investigate, we got plenty of trees. That's something we don't need, if nobody's gonna maintain them.
He's required to plant trees. If you don't want him to plant trees, I'm sure he's willing to save on that cost, but we, the city, want him to plant trees.
Okay, well, what is the city gonna do with the trees behind me right now they haven't maintained?
If there's, this is the last question unrelated to this project
Okay.
that I'm going to answer, but if there's trees that are on the easement that you need trimmed, please give us a call. She can give you her card and we'll take care of that. If they're on the private property, you have to maintain those trees. So anything from the sidewalk towards your home is private and you have to maintain that. Anything from the sidewalk towards the road, we can trim those trees for
I'm talking
you.
about in the back of my house.
Those are your trees, you have to trim those.
That's a blank field. That's part of Hines Park, just like hers.
Okay.
That's not my trees.
I
That's
miss-
the
Madam.
property of the business.
Madam.
side.
If I may, we have a meeting to conclude, and I do appreciate you voicing your concerns. However, those sorts of municipal concerns are best handled by the city council. They'd be able to handle that. This body is only concerned with this gentleman's proposal for his site and not your issues with your personal property or properties that he's not involved with at all. So please raise your concerns for infrastructure, like your power issues, with the city council. He's heard your concerns for what his use is going to be and how it might affect you. However, the reliability of the power system is beyond the scope of this meeting. So I do appreciate your comments, though. On the right, please.
Yep, I have just a couple comments. If I could, I'll be very
Yes, sir.
brief. I will
Please
not be
rise to
long.
the podium and be recognized.
My name is Dave Marsh. I've lived in the neighborhood for 20 years. It's my wife Julie. We face due east to the proposed development, so we look right over the top of Monique's home and Matt's home. And I have no issues with the gentleman wanting to create a business. I think it's great. Business is great. It drives community, tax dollars, boom, understand. Been a business owner, totally get it. My issue is not with the retail development whatsoever. Perfectly fine. It faces Inkster. I believe I heard that it's already zoned properly for that. Doesn't need many variances. I think I heard a parking lot thing. Cool, whatever. My issue, my wife's issue, and I think I can speak for everybody that's here and that's not present. Monique mentioned very tight neighborhood. We hang out all the time. Personally, myself, I'm 60 years old. I've never seen a group of people that are so tight and look out at each other's backs. Our concern is the doubling of the proposed variance from the 27-foot, a story and a half, to a 3-story building. Every single home in that neighborhood that is facing west is a single-story home. So all we're gonna see when we look out in the morning, when the sun is coming up from the east, is a freaking building. Now, again, I don't care about the retail. I don't even care if he does it at a story and a half. I'll let that go because that's already the current, that's your current law, if you will, right? This is doubling it. This is all we're gonna see. I understand he lives in the community. That's great. Does he live in our neighborhood? Does he face east?
See the sunset.
Okay? Good. Have your development, do whatever you gotta do. That's all great. I'm talking about the quality of my property and my property value. I've been there 20 years. This is not gonna help my property value or anybody else in our neighborhood. It ain't gonna help us. He may help the city of Westland from a tax base. Okay, I get it. That's what you guys got to do. I understand. I am adamantly opposed to that doubling from 2754. And I think everybody in this room, left and right-hand side, would agree with me. Do your retail development. That's fine. It's zoned for that. Who cares? They're going to do that on Inkster Road anyway. It's designed for it. Not for us to look east and see that, okay? I just want that noted. Right? And I don't know if this is the right place to bring this up. I heard we can appeal it down the road. We will, because there's no way that should go from 2754. That's a doubling. There's not a single home that's two-story on that side of the street. Not one. That's all I got.
Sir, thank you very much for your comment. I do want to remind you that in the event that they do seek a height variance,
Yes.
that height variance will ultimately have to go before the zoning board of appeals, where they will certainly consider your concerns.
Thank you. We'll be more prepared.
Anybody on my left? Anybody additionally on my right? I see a hand. Please come up and be recognized.
Hi, my name's Megan Moore. I live on 8548 Cavell. So my concern with, I know they mention rodents. You guys keep talking about rats, but it's more of like not storing food, but like people who are storing their items, and if they have like pests like roaches and stuff like that, those will tend to travel, especially if there's water that's already back there. They may tend to travel to our homes, which I keep my house clean, so I don't want bugs in my home. Plus, I have children, so they're playing in my backyard all the time. Soccer, if the ball goes over the fence, we can easily just go back there and grab it. If they have a wall there, it's got to go over. We can't go climb the wall to go get the ball, or we have to fight traffic, like cars driving in. So that's my biggest concern, because I have children, so they like to be in the backyard playing, go in the field, play, and everything like that. And with bugs, not rats. So, that's it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Anybody, once again, returning to my left? Anybody additionally on my right? Hearing none. Can I bring the petitioner back up to the podium?
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Nasser Shukir. I'm the owner of the property. I just want to talk about some of the points that they talked about and complained about.
Well, we'd love to hear.
Okay. So the screen wall can be like matching the building brick face on both sides, and it would be painted, but it's going to be a masonry wall. So it would be casted brick, and then they'll paint it any color that matches the building. And that would be at 6 feet high. We have a buffer, about 20 feet of landscaping, which is going to be plantation in it for, we can say like we can put high trees or low profile trees for sound barrier. Our building is located about 80 feet from that wall as a setback. If you do the calculation, the 20 with the 30 with the another 20 and the 5, it would be about 80 feet away from that wall. Regarding the water, the lady was talking about the water. She's worried about the water that it's going to go into her property. So this property, when it's developed, we're putting a lot of money for Wayne County storm sewer system underground. It's a detention system. So we store the water underground in a special system, and we treat it, and then we'll dump it into Wayne County system. So that have to be considered. There is no flood. There is engineering from the city working with us on this. So it shouldn't be any concern about any water going to the neighbors next door, to any of the sites. It should be contained in the property and discharged into the city and county storm sewer. And we've covered the plaza, the retail plaza. It would be, we're expecting like a daycare in there, half of the building probably, or 3 units as a daycare. It would be like also not a something, it would be like something is better than putting other retail store or commercial than what we're providing. And the height, finally, of the building. This building can be at 53 if the setback is 53. This building can be at 40 feet if the setback is, the side setback is at 40. So whatever setback is it, it's gonna be. But it falls under 27 because we are maintaining at 27. But we can get a variance less than what they have now. For the 3-story building, we can minimize it down to 40. So we can get a variance on about 13 feet instead of 20 or 25 feet. And that is gonna be considered. Because the height of the building, I think, and I designed it, some of the walls at the high portion, they're higher than what they're supposed to be. We can cut them down, change a little bit of the design. It's gonna be a nice looking building. This building is a storage facility. There is no windows or anything that would look into anybody's privacy. So it's gonna be contained building. Any noise, all activity is gonna be indoor. And the lighting, we're gonna follow the city ordinance, and if they tell us you cannot put more than that, then we're gonna not do that. I mean, we're gonna follow whatever you guys tell us. And this is what I wanna just point out, and I hope everybody would be satisfied with the outcome.
Thank you. I'm going to open it up to the commission now. I'll start on my right, recognizing Commissioner Durante.
I want to address the rodent problem. My family owns 5 storage units on the east side and 2 in Flint. We have not had any rodent problems with any of the facilities. They're constantly maintained. We got traps out there, and we have no problems at all. As far as people coming in and out of the facility, they come in, they store their stuff. Sometimes they don't come back for months. It's not an in and out thing. It's a very, very quiet, myself, think that. And with the facility we got in Flint, the property values behind our facility actually went up. And I can say that for a fact. That's all I got to say.
Thank you very much, Sam. To my left, recognizing Commissioner Stashow.
Yes, I have several questions, but staying on that particular subject, through the chair to administration, has there ever been any type of survey within the city when we do have a storage complex put up in regards to value of property within that area?
We have not studied that, no.
Okay. Well, with that comment from Sam, it sounds like we would be quite safe as far as that's concerned. My other question is to the petitioner. Now, are we looking at these units being commercial or residential as far as the rental of the units are concerned?
The plaza on the front, the 4 units.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we're gonna probably, we have one of our clients, we might do about 3 units out of these as a daycare. And 1 is gonna be standing probably till another tenant come in.
Okay, so then, like the gentleman said, that you're going to actually have the cars driving right into the building. So then they'll be unloading in that respect there. Also too, for the building, the construction of the building itself, I didn't see anything like an elevator. Did you have an elevator? Do you have an elevator
In
for
the
your floors?
storage building?
Pardon me?
We're talking on the storage or plaza?
Yeah, the
The
storage
storage. And the
building.
first question was also for the storage or for the plaza?
Yeah, the storage.
So this is-
Because you have several floors there, will you have an elevator in the
Of course,
storage
yeah,
area?
Of course.
Yeah, okay. And I noticed only one bathroom in the complex. Is that going to be a service bathroom for the people who are going to be utilizing the storage? Or is that just for the workers there?
That's for the storage, not the plaza, right?
Yes,
The
that's right.
building in the back,
We're
the big
only
building, the
talking
three-story.
about the storage.
That one bathroom is for the office that is gonna be leasing or renting these units. That one bathroom, it's not for public.
Okay, yes, so it'll just be for the
For the office
lessees that are,
leasing the units.
okay, very good. And I think that should conclude my questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Anybody on my right? Recognizing Mr. Hopkins? Oh, okay. Mr. Hopkins, I'll get you in a minute, Ruby.
Good evening, Petitioner. I think some of my concerns would be the same as these individuals that are sitting in the audience tonight. One thing I do have to say is that it is zoned CB3, so something is allowed to go there. I think the best thing for the residents and for the petitioner is to try to come up with some kind of conditions that's going to satisfy everybody. I know, Monique, some of the things that you had concerns with, I would as well. And one of them would be hours of operation, and we haven't really discussed that at all. So I guess my question to you is, what are you considering your hours of operation to be?
So in the summer, it would be from 8 till 8. In the winter, it would be from 8 to 7.
8 to, I'm sorry?
To 7.
7.
Because it gets darker early.
Also, the concern of single versus multiple stories is coming down to a single-story, 27-foot building out of the question for you?
Of course. I mean, it's a project that when you do a project like this, it needs to be a 3-story. I mean, we can reduce the height of the building, but it needs to be at a 3-story building.
I mean, I've seen storage facilities that are not 50-some feet high. Why does this have to be
Because
50-some
this
feet
is
high?
contained, the one that you see, they pull to the garage, and it would be right on the aisle. This storage facility, you drive in as a drive, and you park inside, you go to your unit, and you come back, and you leave. So
Okay.
it's not like you come up with, to the garage.
For the citizens out here and the residents here, I do want to assure you that Mo and Nicole do a phenomenal job at what they do. And some of these concerns, they're not going to be your concerns because they are regulated by Wayne County, and there's just no way around it. The grade of the property, the water retention, some of those things they're in the hands of Wayne County. And let me assure you that the two in administration are crossing their Ts and dotting their Is. So you have a team for you that is exceptional at what they do. This is difficult for the residents, but it is going to happen in the city of Westland. Development's going to happen. I looked at the plans, and from the front, it looks amazing. I would be happy to have something like that in the city of Westland, as far as, the frontage and how it looks. My concern is, as well as theirs, is the height of this, and that's really my only concern about this. Everything else is covered under Wayne County and under building and development and permits and so on and so forth. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Anybody on my left, recognizing Commissioner Folks?
Thank you, sir. My concern is pretty much about security. Will you have on-site security 24 hours, or how's that going to work?
It would be the hour of operation. We're gonna have one person would be controlling the whole property, and we're gonna have civilian cameras all over the place. And that would be, of course, connected to a security company that would come and if there's any problem.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Is that all? Thank you very much. Anybody on my right? Ruby? Okay, your question was about security? Very nice. Anybody on my left, recognizing Commissioner Swokas?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through the chair to the petitioner. When I take a look at something like this, and I think it's nice to build something in a business, the first thing I always think about is the residents of the city, because we serve them. Yes, we're appointed by the mayor, we're confirmed by the council, but we serve the citizens. And when I think about something, I look at, does it change the essential character of the neighborhood and the sight lines? I sat on zoning board in this city. Actually, I was the youngest person in the history of this city to sit on the zoning board more than 30 years ago. And that was always in my mind when I think about, does it change the character of the neighborhood? Now, I know you said that you said it has to be 3 stories, and unfortunately, I'm going to have to disagree with you on that. I think that when we put something into a neighborhood and we're asking for special approvals and things like that, we need to think about, what can I do to not impede upon the neighbors? Because let's be honest, you may want them to be a customer, and if they're not happy with you, they're going to spend a lot of time complaining. They're going to spend time coming to council, and the council's going to listen. Now, I think as this body, we want to work with you. We want to see Westland grow and prosper. Are you willing to even take it down to 2 stories? Are you willing to compromise and work with the residents to try to bring it down a little bit? Because I know if I had to look at something like that, I would be very concerned, especially when you have people who have lived in the neighborhood 20 and 30 years. I've been in this city 50 plus years, my entire life. And I've seen things change, and I've seen things get better, and I've seen things get worse. But I think what we're trying to do is we want everybody to try to work together. And I'm sure that you want to do that. But I want to know, what are you willing to do about that height? Because I think right now, that's the biggest thing for the residents. I think they can be satisfied about, the road thing, and I think Commissioner Durante, I think has done, the right thing to tell you, from his experience and from the businesses in his family, that it's increased property values, because he's been on this body for a while and he understands that, and he's a businessman. And I don't think that people are really super worried about rodents and things like that. I think that's just a genuine concern, but the height, because when you put that there, you will change the essential character of their neighborhood. You go home to your home, but these residents have to look at that, and they have to live with that. And someday they may want to sell their house because, for whatever purpose. Are you willing to do anything to work with them to bring down that elevation? Because right now, you don't have my vote. And if we don't have a majority of votes here, you won't get to ZBA. And I don't even know if ZBA would grant the variance. They may not, I don't know. that's up to them. But I certainly would not be comfortable supporting this at such a dense and, you know, how high it is, because right now, that doesn't work. And then even the hours, too. In storages, you know, I understand, you know, we approved a new storage thing over here on Warren Road. I personally would not want to see that if there's issues there. I wouldn't want to see it open any greater than 8 to 6 all year round, you know? Because when families are home, they want to be in their backyard. And it sounds like in this neighborhood, these people get together and they do things together. They've got kids. Some of them probably now have grandkids. You know, what are you willing to do to work with these residents to allay their concerns and fears? Because I don't think they want to stop you from coming into the city or building something. I'm sure they want to see tax base. I want to see tax bases. I'm sure our council and mayor want to see tax base. But I think we need to really look at the citizens, because they have to live here 24/7 and look at that. And if they're not happy, I don't know that your business will succeed. Because, you know, it's like they say, if somebody's upset with something, they tell somebody, and then they tell another person, and they tell another person. I don't want to see that happen. But seriously, what will you do to try to, are you willing to try to work with them and bring down from 3 to 2? Because maybe that might help them. But right now, I can't support this.
Can I answer you? Okay.
Chair recognizes the petitioner.
Okay. So normally people comes here, they put a contingency on a purchase to buy a property, then they'll come here. If you approve them, they'll go ahead. I'm a resident, I'm a property owner of Westland as much as all the residents here. I do have a concern, and I do play the role of a resident. That's why I'm doing something unique in there. I didn't put an apartment building. I didn't do something really that would affect the neighborhood in value or any of that. So I am playing a role that if I want to invest in 2-acre property, which is I had 2 houses, and I don't know if you've been to these houses or you've been to that property, and I bought, the lady was saying that this was horrible. I just bought these properties 3 years ago and 2 years ago, and I've been working on these properties so long to get the right entity in there or the right business in there as a businessman. And I own a property in Westland. So when I came up with the idea, your department kept rejecting the ideas that we are putting in because they wanted to fit the community. And we came to an agreement that this is like, it's okay, we can talk about it now. And this is why we proposed this. So, I just wanted to let you know who I am and what I am. I mean, this is my property. I did not put a contingency to buy. I bought it already a long time. So I just want you to know that. So the height of the building is your concern. And I said I would play with the height of the building, but the 3-story would stay. If I take, okay, I want to ask you a question. So what height do you want me to be at? It's 2-story building. This 3-story at 53.
I think I've made myself very clear to the petitioner that I would like you to work with the residents. You're telling me that it has to be 3 stories, and I'm telling you I disagree with you, and I know that there are several other commissioners on this body. I'm asking you, and I've asked you before, what are you willing to do to work with these residents to rectify their concerns? Because what you're asking for here is you're asking for special land use approval.
True.
I can't send this to my city council and say, you know what, I agree with this, when I have residents that are concerned. And if you're not willing to address that head on and say, I'm willing to do X, Y, Z, you need to tell me. It's not my job to tell you what you should do. I'm asking you, what are you willing to do?
That's what I'm saying.
I want you to tell me, what are you willing to do for these residents of this city, in this neighborhood, who were here before you. You knew they were there when you purchased this property. I would like to know, what are you willing to do to allay the concerns of these residents? That's all I'm asking. I'm not telling you what you need to do. That is your choice, but I'm asking you, what are you, Nasser, as the petitioner, willing to do for these residents? Because I'm sure you want to be a good neighbor, and yes, you want to make money, but remember, they were here before you. They are the residents. You could end up making money and sell your business and it'll go to another person, but they will still be there in the neighborhood. And I would like everybody to work together. I'm sure that they're not going to be unreasonable. I think they've more than proven that. What are you willing to do as the petitioner? Because you're asking for special land use approval, which is not a guarantee that we have, or, no matter what we recommend, council can do whatever they would like to, because they have the ultimate authority, and even the administration, if the mayor so decides and he doesn't approve with what the council, he can issue his mayoral veto. There are plenty of options out there. I just would like to be able to see you work with the residents and do something that will allay their concerns, work together, and make everybody happy. We need to create a win-win here, and I haven't heard you address that head-on. And until you address that head-on, I'm not gonna support sending this to City Council with a recommendation for approval. I will vote no.
Orcas, if we can return to the floor. Thank you very much. If you're satisfied, petitioner, I don't recommend challenging the.
No, I'm not, I just want to satisfy.
Please, may I finish? I don't recommend challenging the commissioner. The commissioner's made it very clear he has concerns, and he wishes that you would address those. He does not have a particular proposal for you, because it's not our place, nor is it actually particularly legal for us to offer you that. That having been said, I will recognize Commissioner Rounds.
Good evening, everybody. Just a thought for consideration. There's variances that still need to go to the ZBA for approval. This meeting, and correct me if I'm wrong, is for the proposed site plan and special land use. And the issue that's on the table now is the height. Because I think we've talked through a lot of the other things that have gone through. So to the gentleman's point in the gray, being better prepared to talk about it when it comes to that point. I think we just need to, get through what the agenda item is.
Right.
And let due process take its course, because there's that's what needs to happen, in my humble opinion.
That the agenda needs to move along, yes.
Thank you very much. Anybody additionally on my left? I believe everybody's been heard. Anybody additionally on my right? Thank you very much. Before I call this up for a motion, I wanted to be very clear to the field. There's been some suggestion from the audience that we are concerned, this board is concerned with property taxes. We are not. We are your neighbors. We are not operatives of the city. We're volunteers, and we are appointed. That's why we're here. That's why we're also a recommending body. Our decision isn't final. Lastly, to the petitioner, please take note. The things that you're hearing is an encouragement to engage with your neighbors so that they can be more okay. They do realize that this property has been planned for use. And certainly, we're also trying to prepare you for the sort of information that you'll need to share moving forward. Certainly, if this height issue is going to be an issue moving forward, you should be prepared to answer that a little bit more precisely, so that everybody who would be in objection can either be correct in their objection, or their concerns can be allayed. With that, motion is in order. Thank you. Recognizing Darrell Rounds.
I move the case number 1220A.
Yeah, that's fine. Chair, do you want to close the public hearing?
Do you want to?
Yes, sir. If it's okay, may I suggest verbiage for your motion? I suggest that you close the public hearing, waive the normal rules, and send case 1220A to City Council with a recommendation for approval, subject to the petitioner receiving the appropriate variances from the Zoning Board of Appeals. Is that the sum and substance of your motion?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
That is the motion as delivered by Mr. Darrell Rounds. Thank you very much for accepting my suggestion.
Support.
Supported by Commissioner Hopkins. Roll call vote, please.
Just give me one moment here. Okay. This is a roll call vote to recommend approval of case 1220A, conditioned on the variances being granted by the Zoning Board of Appeals. Durante,
Yes.
Folks,
Yes.
Hobbs,
Yes.
Hopkins.
Yes.
Richards,
Yes.
Rounds,
Yes.
Statchow,
Yes.
Swokas,
Yes.
Rappaport.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Once again, for those who are interested in this, please follow this case. Certainly, an issue like this one needs to be very well debated so that what does happen in our community is acceptable to our community. Thank you very much. Moving on to case number 1914D, proposed rezoning from I-1 Light Industrial District to CB1. Petitioner John Putnam. Administration, please.
Okay, thank you. I'm just shuffling through some paperwork here. Alrighty, the property here, it's on your screen outlined in yellow. It's comprised of about 1 acre in size as well. This one is undeveloped. It is zoned I-1 Light Industrial District. The petitioner is requesting to rezone this property from I-1 to CB1. That's our low-intensity commercial business district. And this is to allow the next item to move forward, which is a multi-tenant medical office. The adjacent land uses and zonings, starting with the properties to the north across the street of Ford Road, are zoned I-2. General industrial, they're developed by a variety of industrial uses. Properties to the south are zoned I-1 light industrial and are developed by single-family dwellings. Properties to the east, zoned OB, office business, developed by professional office building, consistent with this use. And property to the west is undeveloped, zoned I-1 light industrial. The master plan future land use indicates industrial with this site. Some information contained in my staff report that may be important for this decision. The subject property is currently undeveloped, as mentioned. It has sat under the I-1 industrial zoning classification for over 3 decades, undeveloped. Within that time frame, there have been at least 2 industrial projects on file that have been approved in the late 90s. They were never built. There has been no inquiries recently since I've been here in the past roughly 5 years for industrial development. I believe perhaps this is related to the size and irregular shape of the lot, which makes it difficult for an industrial development with the truck traffic and things like that. The lot is actually a lot smaller than what is outlined in yellow. They will have to shift back their property line to the south because of that frontage road right-of-way that sort of essentially runs through the property, which they are willing to do and showing on the site plan. The only matter of concern here is that the future land use designation is industrial, perhaps something we need to look at a little further with the master plan update that we're doing right now. As previously mentioned, it has never been developed with industrial, and as mentioned, the size and shape of it doesn't really promote that type of development. The city is recommending, well, not the city, the administration and planning department is recommending approval. The petitioner is here in the audience as well. Thank you.
Petitioner, can you please rise? I'm sorry. Petitioner, can you please rise and to the podium? Thank you very much.
Oh, good evening, and thank you for your time. I'm Jeff Klatt with Krieger Klatt Architects, 400 East Lincoln in Royal Oak. And this is Dr. John Putman. He's the owner of the property and the owner of Back to You as well. So Dr. John owns several locations in Michigan. I believe it's 3 locations in Michigan, as well as 2 in Florida, too. So successful businesses. He specializes in physical therapy, chiropractic, massage therapy, osteopathic, occupational therapy, as well as orthopedic. So he's looking to create a new home in Westland, and we think this is an ideal site. You know, as Mo mentioned, it's a very irregular piece of property, not to mention the shape, but also the power lines that kind of run through the front third of the lot. So we think we have a pretty creative solution to kind of tuck our building back behind and keep the parking to the front to minimize impact to the residents behind us. So I'm more than happy to run through the plans, floor plans, elevations, site plan, if that helps.
Well, this particular issue is for the rezoning. We'll probably want to discuss the specifics in just a few moments when we discuss your site plan.
I understand. So I guess just to follow up, we think that it's a nice soft use for the neighborhood. It's a business that has minimal hours. They're open from 7 to 7 during the week, but the weekends they don't practice during the weekend. So it's a nice low intense use, single story in height, versus an industrial building. Seems like a softball for the neighborhood.
Thank you. If you can have a seat nearby. This is a special land use, so we will be asking for contribution from the citizens. At this time, if anybody has a comment or a question for the developer, specifically at this point for the rezoning, anybody on my right? Seeing none. Anybody on my left? Seeing none. Closing the citizen commentary, opening it up to the commission. Anybody on my right? Seeing none. Anybody on my left? Seeing none. There is a motion for approval is in order. Would somebody like to?
I'll make the motion.
Oh, okay.
Wow, I have a wealth of motion makers. I'll recognize Deanna Stashow.
Okay. Yes, I'd like to close the public hearing and send the case number 1914D, proposed rezoning from I-1 light industrial to CB1 low-intensity commercial business district at 2207 Knowlson, west side of Knowlson, south of Ford Road. And this is with the administration and planning department recommend that this petition forward to the city council with the recommendation for approval and contingent upon the departmental requirements and recommendation.
Recognizing the support from Commissioner Swokas. Roll call, please.
Durante was really quick there. I got to write his name down. Okay. Durante?
Yes.
Folks?
Yes.
Hobbs?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Richards?
Yes.
Rounds?
Yes.
Stachow?
Yes.
Swokas?
Yes.
And Rappaport.
Yes.
This one is
Very good. Moving on to case number 3, once again, 1914E, proposed site plan for approval for medical office. This is not a public hearing. I'm assuming that there's no additional information from the administration?
You know what, I'd like to keep the petitioner's comments short, so I will run through what I think are the important highlights of the site plan, if you don't
Very
mind.
good, please proceed.
Okay. Okay, we know generally some of the site details, but some of the site plan details as proposed. Site access is provided by a single driveway there off of Frontage Street, and also here off of, I'm sorry, this is Frontage and then Nolson. I'm not sure if I said Nolson there in the beginning. There's 32 off-street parking spaces that are required. The site is providing 33 off-street parking spaces. The exterior building materials, there's a rendering in your backup posted on the screen here. Primarily using aluminum and laminate wall panels. The site contains compliant screening and landscaping along both Frontage Road, Marie Avenue, and Nolson Avenue, which are all considered front property lines. Landscaping is also proposed throughout the site and the parking areas. There is a 6-foot-tall masonry wall that sort of jogs the site at the rear property line to protect the residential properties that I mentioned earlier. There's also a wooden privacy fence in part of this segment that will remain, I believe. There's a dumpster enclosure on the west side here where this red cursor is. Site lighting is provided. There's a photometric in your backup. All the site lighting is compliant with the lighting ordinance. All of the bulk requirements, this includes the setbacks, the lot coverage, the building height, as I mentioned in the previous case. These are all being complied with here. The hours of operation are posted in your backup as well. Nothing abnormal. It's closed on Saturday and Sunday. The administration and planning commission are recommending approval.
Thank you very much, administration. Petitioner, may I please have you retake the podium? Before I turn the floor over to you for additional comment on your project, we did receive a letter on this matter from a citizen, Jack Stange. Once again, I will not dox this individual. That's their thing to do, not mine. However, this individual does live in the area, was unable to attend, but they wanted their concerns to be allayed. Some of which I have to advise. May not be within your ability to resolve. Item 1 has to do with some confusion about whether Nolson Street is a street, an avenue, or a drive. Administration, I'm not sure that distinction is particularly relevant or within the purview of this body.
It's being investigated.
It is being investigated, Jack.
We apologize if we got the name wrong. So.
Item 2, your exit entrance on Nelson Street is on a dirt road. He's calling concern that rain, etc., causes large potholes in that dirt road. Is there a plan perhaps to address the dirt road issue, or is that beyond your ability to control?
Yeah, really, it's beyond our ability. We propose to all of our improvements will be on our site within Dr. Putman's boundaries of his site. So our new driveway will meet all city ordinance standards or engineering standards and or Wayne County standards if applicable, but we want to make sure our work is on site. So we would love for that road to be repaired too if it is in disrepair.
And if Mr. Stange has additional issues with the condition of his road, I would suggest to him that he takes it up with the city council, who loves to hear those sorts of things. Item 3, are there any drainage or storage ponds on the project? I believe I see the administration is shaking their head yes. As I mentioned earlier in today's session, it is actually a requirement statutorily that new development site plans have water retention on their site. Is this going to be the case in your site?
It is not. Per discussion with our civil engineer, Stonefield, and our engineer was unable to attend today, this site is less than 1 acre in size. So per our understanding, if the development, I believe if you disturb less than 1 acre of site, an underground detention and or detention basin is not required. and our impervious surface area is less than 0.5 acres, so we're not proposing that. We will have catch basins on the property to manage our water flow that will then distribute to the city stormwater system. But right now, based on the size of the property, we're not required per the ordinance to maintain a basin and/or an underground detention system.
Well, obviously, your neighbors are going to be more concerned about water in their basements than they are about the requirements of the code. So if you could please have it in your mind to adequately address this matter with the administration, I'm sure that would make your neighbors much more happy to have you next to them.
Yeah.
As this facility would possibly handle people that are physically handicapped, will 2 handicap parking places be enough for this business? You may want to rethink this issue. I will just leave that to you, and I do not expect a response to it at all. At this time, I'll turn the floor over to you to enhance whatever the administration did propose. Do you have anything to add to that before I ask for contribution from the audience?
I think Mo did an amazing job, so we can answer
He
any
did do
questions
an
you have.
amazing job. He's quite amazing. At this time, I'd like to hear from anybody on my right. None? Does anybody on my left wish to speak on this matter? Seeing none, I'll open it up to the commission. Commissioners, anybody on my right? Seeing none. Commissioners, anybody on my left? Seeing none. Motion on the proposed site plan is in order. Recognizing Ruby Richards.
I move to send case number 1914E, proposed site plan approval for a medical office at 2207 Nolson, west side of Nolson, south of Ford Road, to City Council with a recommendation for approval contingent upon departmental requirements and recommendations.
Support.
Motion by Richards, support by Durante. Roll call, please.
Roll call vote to recommend approval of case number 1914E. Durante.
Yes.
Folks.
Yes.
Hobbs. Hopkins. Richards.
Yes.
Rounds.
Yes.
Stachow. Swokas. Rappaport.
Yes. Thank you very much. You can see the administration for the next steps.
No, thank you very much. Appreciate your time today.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Doctor.
So I'd like to echo the sentiments of Commissioner Hopkins too, that Mo and Nicole have been excellent to work with. We appreciate their guidance and all their patience to the project. So thank you very much.
Nicole is a treasure.
Thank you.
You can't claim her. Now calling case number 2269, proposed land division at 5775 North Dowling Ave, Claudia and Viosa Heisen Henna. Administration?
Yep. Thank you. The subject property here is zoned R5 Single Family Residential. The property is 133 feet wide along Dowling Street there. It's developed by a single family dwelling closer, well, in the north and southern half of the property. The petitioner is seeking approval to split the property into 2 parcels for future development of a single-family dwelling on parcel B, which I believe is the northern parcel, if correct. Yes. Both parcels do comply with the minimum zoning requirements of the R5 district and the required setbacks of all of the existing buildings that will remain. The administration and planning department are recommending approval.
Thank you very much. Is the petitioner in the audience? Please rise to the podium and be recognized.
Good evening. My name is Viosa Heisen. My husband is not here right now.
Very good then. Do you have anything that you'd like to add to the presentation from the administration?
No.
Nope.
No.
Did a good job,
sorry,
huh?
You guys are expecting a lot today.
Fantastic. Although this is not a public hearing, is there anybody on my right that would like to speak to this matter? Anybody on my left that would like to speak to this matter? To the commission, anybody on my right like to speak on this matter? To the commission, anybody on my left like to speak on this matter? Seeing none, motion is in order.
I make a motion that we send case number 2.
Recognizing Sam Durante. Thank you, Sam.
I jumped the gun, huh?
Maybe a little.
I recommend we send case number 2269, proposed land division at 5775 North Dowling Avenue, to the city council with a recommendation from the administration and the planning department, a recommendation that this position be approved upon conditions of departmental requirements and recommendations. I'm sorry I messed that up.
Super, super good. Motion by Durante, support by Richards. Roll call, please.
Roll call vote to recommend approval of 2269. Durante?
Yes.
Folks?
Yes.
Hobbs?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Richards?
Yes.
Rounds?
Yes.
Stachow?
Yes.
Swokis?
Yes.
And Rappaport.
Yes. Vote is unanimous. You can see the administration for next steps.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You can tell your husband, we said no because he wasn't here.
Okay. Thank you.
Seems fair. Moving on to case number 1887Q, proposed special land use approval for a massage parlor. This is a special land use and a public hearing. Petitioners Robert Kerrigan, administration, please.
Okay, thank you. The applicant is requesting special land use approval to operate a massage establishment in an established retail plaza at 31264 Michigan Avenue. This is the retail plaza that's connected to the Kroger on the northeast corner of Merriman and Michigan Avenue. The property is zoned PUD, the planned unit development that paved the way for the development of this retail plaza, Kroger, and the gas station. The business will be located within an existing vacant tenant space in this commercial shopping center. It's noted sort of on in a shaded gray over here where my cursor is for people watching at home. The massage establishment will provide full body massage treatment. It is my understanding that the hours of operation are 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. I think those perhaps need to be confirmed. There is some background information about this specific business location and not the petitioner. There is some background information about the petitioner, and then there's some general information about massage establishments operating in the city generally that I'd just like to read on the record. This massage establishment under the current owner has been operating for an unknown period of time without city approvals. I think since that was found, I believe the business has rarely closed to go through this approval process. This establishment previously to this petitioner owning the business has also been under investigation after allegations of prostitution were made. The police investigations earlier this year did confirm those allegations, and according to the police department, the business was ordered by the court to be forfeited, and is perhaps how the petitioner obtained the business, unsure of that, or how that played out. In general, this is important information because this is a special land use. The city has experienced a series of problems dealing with massage establishments, including unapproved floor plan modifications, establishments operating without licenses and certificate of occupancies, lack of record-keeping issues, and on several occasions, illegal massage and prostitution related crimes. And so on July 6th of 2020, the city adopted a new ordinance to further enforce and regulate massage establishments in a way that encourages businesses offering services under the guidance of medically licensed professionals to open in our commercial districts by right, while requiring special land use approval for establishments without medically licensed staff. In Westland, there are over a dozen massage establishments, over a dozen, but we don't know for sure how many because they are not licensed or some of them don't have certificate of occupancies and whatnot. Some of the adjacent land uses to this, which is also important for, I don't have my aerial on here, for a special land use. Property to the north is zoned R5 single family residential. It's developed with Inkster Valley Golf Course. Property to the south across the street from Michigan Avenue is zoned OB. That's our office district. It's developed with 2 large water storage tanks. I don't know, you guys have probably seen them driving down Michigan Avenue. I don't know how else to describe them. Property to the east is zone CB3, general commercial business. This is the location of the Eloise Haunted Attraction. And finally, business property to the west. This is located in the city of Wayne and is developed with the West Lawn Cemetery. The master plan designates this property as neighborhood commercial / office services. Neighborhood commercial office services uses provides for the sale of convenience goods and personal business services for day-to-day needs of the immediate neighborhood. These uses draw from a distance of approximately 1 to 1.5 miles, depending on the density and the character of the residential area adjacent to it or that it's serving. I may have written in my staff report that this does not comply. I guess that's up to interpretation, and I had a hard time kind of interpreting whether a massage establishment would comply with that definition or not. So just wanted to put that on the record. That is not all I have. So based on the history of noncompliance with this establishment and local ordinances and police and also court records of this massage establishment location, the administration and planning department are recommending denial of this petition. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, administration. If I may please have the petitioner rise to the podium and be recognized.
Good evening. My name is Georgia Baldwin. I'm actually a representative for the petitioner. The petitioner is Bob Kerrigan. So I don't know if you'd like to hear from Mr. Kerrigan first or if it's what your preference is.
However you would prefer.
Okay.
Before we begin, I'd just like to say on behalf of the city, as to the degree that I'm authorized to speak for them, we recognize that you have a tough road ahead of you, and it's certainly not because... I'm sorry. We certainly recognize that you have a tough road ahead of you with this proposal. And we want you to understand that it's not a measure of distrust for you until we find out that we need to have distrust. It's the history of these sorts of establishments make us extraordinarily concerned. And certainly, if you are going to be successful, you'll need to address those concerns. So that being said, thank you very much for trying to bring business to Westland, and the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you very much. Well, historically, massage parlors alone have lent themselves to issues such as this establishment sounds like it's had over a very extensive history that was in a very thorough report that was really great. Today, the massage establishments, though, in this case, they're hoping, and in most cases, are more similar to a spa experience. If you called a massage parlor that on a cruise ship or at a resort, you have a completely different thought in your mind as to what you would maybe expect to see. So I think the petitioner's intent is to have it more be on the personal services, massage, the hot stone therapies, facials, things in that nature that probably fall more in line with today's salons or like a resort at a spa at a resort than what we probably a lot of us have in our heads as a massage parlor. And they recognize that it's now called massage establishments, probably to get away from some of that. A lot of these services currently can be, currently happen within a chiropractor's office and places like that, and now you're seeing more of a trend toward these being kind of on their own or along with nail salons and things like that. So I can't speak too much to whether when the business transferred maybe ownership to an associate of the petitioner and then operated and then was somehow made aware by the city that there were either some expired permits or new licenses that needed to be sought from this board. And so I'll let Mr. Kerrigan speak to those things. But it sounds like there are some very valid and extensive concerns that this board has and should have. So a couple of the things that after reading the review, I think the hours of operation is something that probably until 11 o'clock doesn't really lend itself to something, you know, if I get out of work at 5, I could probably schedule an appointment up until 9 o'clock. So if the hours of operation were changed more from a 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. To help allay some of those concerns. And then we've also heard that there are serious concerns about paperwork not being submitted to the city clerk's office, such as licenses for the therapists who are on site. So the petitioner is absolutely willing to make sure, whether that's a part of a conditional approval, but that anyone who's operating as a licensed massage therapist within the business submits those upon hire to city administration or the clerk's office, whichever would be appropriate. Along with the floor plans and things. We do have an updated floor plan, and I understand that we can't submit it tonight. The layout of the building itself did not change, but some of the names of the rooms so that it was more clear as to what would happen in these rooms, so that it really indicated more of the spa experience over just massage rooms that just have a very generic title to them. I can turn it over to Mr. Kerrigan. The only other thing that maybe we would ask the Planning Commission to consider as opposed to a recommendation for denial would be a conditional approval if the Planning Commission found that to be appropriate to allow the petitioner to operate for a year or whatever time frame that the Planning Commission felt appropriate, to show that while this has a really bad reputation, that this petitioner would really like to bring something that is a quality experience to the city of Westland. So just as an offering up, I don't know if that condition is able to be put on tonight, but something to consider, that the petitioner would come back before you in a year and see if that business meets the community standards.
Thank you very much. Mr. Kerrigan, did you want to say any words?
I think she's covered everything that I was thinking about, was that I wanted it to be known that it was, I was looking to do a spa experience. Something certainly more than just massage, and that wasn't reflected in the first blueprint as well. Every room in there just says massage, massage, massage. There's a lot of rooms. There's, I don't know, 8 or 9 rooms in the place. So now they're labeled as, I'm looking at like a salt room, which would be an aromatherapy type thing, a room where you can get moisturized face and the face mask kind of a thing for ladies. And let's see, there's a sauna in there. Certainly still there is a massage. I brought a licensed masseuse with me today. I think that's all I have. Any questions I can answer for you?
Thank you very much. At this time, I'm going to ask you to take a seat. This is a special land use, so it is a public hearing. We'll ask for contributions from the citizenry, and then we'll open it up to the commission, and we'll invite you back up. At this time, is there anybody in the audience on my right wish to speak on this proposal? Please rise to the podium and be recognized, sir.
Yes, sir.
Not like we don't already recognize you, sir.
All right, my name is Ray. I'm the chairperson of the Disability Advocacy Group, and I am, after hearing about this massage place, I really am concerned. Really am concerned. It needs to be, and I agree that the rules should be more stricter. And I hope that city council and you guys look at that too, and because I really am concerned. Because with people, even with people with different challenges becoming to these, I didn't know anything about this massaging place. I'm concerned because, like, I want to go somewhere where I feel like I'm safe and get to know the information, what they do and stuff like that. So I just want to share that information. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody on my left? Seeing none, and out of citizens on the right-hand side, I will open it up to commission. If I can have the petitioner please retake the podium. I will start on my left this time. Mr. Swokes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through the chair, the petitioner. Is this your first foray into the spa massage
Yes.
business?
Yes.
So I guess I'm kind of wondering, like, so if this is your first foray, how did you, how did you get into the, to decide, okay, this is what I want to do, understanding, like, how did you build that understanding of what the business would need and all of those things? Because for me, I mean, I'm about trying to make things better and I want to help you overcome these things if we can do that. But I also want to make sure we allay those fears, so if somebody says, well, okay, this gentleman has done the research, or he worked for a massage person, or he, has invested in it before. I'm just wondering, like, where did you kind of get your knowledge and all that stuff to be able to do that and feel comfortable that you would invest your finances in that?
My girlfriend was involved in this when it got closed down, which was because of the licensing. She had been there for, I think, about a month, and they opened the doors. She wasn't aware of what she needed to do it. It got closed down. She said, what am I going to do? I said, well, let's find out why you got closed down. And honestly, in the last 3 to 4 months, I said, well, I'd like to see you do a business, but I would like it to be absolutely legit. And what does it take to do a good business with this? So I came in here, did the submissions. You guys told me about, well, you sent me all of the Michigan state laws, all the requirements and things like that for massage. And I spoke with her and said, is this possible? Is this something you can do? And she said, I know the people that are licensed that certainly would be willing to. And I said, well, if it's something that we could do a good business, straight up a legal business, something that's good for everybody, something that's happy, makes people happy. When I started asked her about the hot rocks, the facials and things like that, and I said, have you done this kind of stuff? Do you know people that are licensed to do this? And she said, I know people that are licensed to do this, and yes, we could. She had the initial investment, but she told me what she was going through and asked me if I could help, and I said, well, I would be willing to certainly try, as long as I have the same concerns you do. I don't want any issues.
Right, because and I appreciate that.
And I'd like to have an opportunity to have a good business.
And I believe that wholeheartedly, and I definitely believe in spa services, and I think they're good. They're very therapeutic, especially for people who are older, people who have disabilities or challenges physically, or even, like I said, cancer patients. I mean, I know plenty of people that have gone through that, and I know myself, I've utilized spa services, and I think safety is always a big thing, and we certainly don't want to throw the past of what others' mistakes were upon you. But they said, we really want to take it up the next level so that, if this goes to the city council, that city council then can say, you know what, because I will tell you, they will be tough. And they will ask every question, and they will certainly, work hard to allay the fears, and I know that the administration has done that. So when you're when you hire these people, of course, they'll have licenses, and I know you said and I know there are requirements for continuing education and stuff like that. I would be concerned about the hours. Are you willing to take the hours down during the week and then say expand the hours maybe on a Saturday, because people being off work, you could open up at 7 or 8 a.m. on a Saturday and close by dark? Because I think honestly, what do they say? Everybody's perception is their reality. And the perception of anything happening after dark, my grandma used to say, there's nothing that you can't do in the light that, that you need to do after dark. I'm just wondering if that's something maybe you could look at, saying the weekend, yes, we could have expanded hours on the weekend, and then just maybe it could be like an 8 to 5 or an 8 to 6 Monday through Friday, and then a weekend you could say, okay, Saturday 7 to 6, and maybe a Sunday could be like a 9 to 5, something like that. I mean, are you willing to make that kind of a adjustment to kind of thing, because I want to give you as much as possible to try to take that to the next level if this passes from here for recommendation.
Certainly, I think that, I think the original paperwork, when I filled it out, I think I put like 11 to 11 or something, or even 9 to 11. Yes, I'm willing to work with it. I would like to see that it could operate until 9 at night, something like that, like the whole strip is pretty much open until then.
And
A lot of people get out of work at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock.
Right, that's why
things
I'm
like that.
suggesting the weekend thing, because like I said, everyone's perception is the reality. And, you know, if you start out with something and then, you know, they see, who knows, maybe, you know, that's something that can potentially change down, I don't know. I'm just saying, the more that you try to help allay the fears of people, the better you can kind of bring people to your side, because I would like to see this business rehabilitated, because, you know, say this is, you know, denied, we have a vacant spot sitting in a building, and I don't think anybody in the city wants it. I certainly know our mayor and council don't, and we certainly don't. But I'm just saying, are you willing to say, hey, you know, weekends, I mean, most people, they like to go to a spa on a weekend, and, you know, with you know, people, unless you're a single person, if you've got kids and you've got sports, I don't think so much that people are gonna, you know, I mean, just my experience, you know, being at my age, people with kids and grandkids and all this stuff, they may not do that Monday through Friday. They may say, you know what, I need to go on a Saturday, you know, or I need to go on a Sunday. And especially just with a weekend, I think it just, every possible appearance that you give of, okay, I'm trying to make you see that I'm really trying to allay those fears, because unfortunately, like, you know, like our chairman said, you have a hard road to kind of go up, and I want to help you be able to get up that road and then go down the hill and then round the bend, kind of,
Mr.
per se.
Solkis?
I am willing to work with times. I think it would, discussion would be good.
Okay, that's
But
good.
yes, I'm willing to work with it, absolutely.
That's all I have.
Thank you very much, Mr. Solkis. Anybody on my right, recognizing Ruby Richards?
My question is, why did you pick this building in this area? Because, like I say, when I tried to get to it, it's like it's a maze.
My friend had already rented it.
Okay. You think you'll get a lot of business being in this spot?
Potentially, I think yes. I think yes.
And what about your signage? Because you, like I said, it's hidden, so are you gonna have big signage out, you know, go this way, that way, what?
Oh, and signage would be right now, and I had left it that way, and it was originally called Healing Plus. I don't know by who, but it's a nice-looking sign as far as that. I figured in the front windows, probably there would be something large that would be like a woman with a mask, you
talking
know,
about, like,
the
driving to
cucumber
it,
on
like-
her eyes kind of thing.
Like coming off of Michigan or whatever, would it be like a signage right there saying, you know, like Kroger's and then the name of your place? Because I didn't see anything.
Potentially, if somebody wanted it there, yeah, absolutely. I don't know, I hadn't thought about that. I was looking at that there was a sign there and just putting typical, you know, your standard advertisement type thing in the large window, you know.
If I may,
Yes.
Mr. Chair, once they've, you know, should the special land use be recommended for approval and then approved by city council, it's something that the petitioner would work with administration on what's allowable for signage. If
Yeah.
it's within a PUD, do they have a spot that is already set and they can only, you know, use this area? But potentially looking at a name change, especially if there's some kind of reputation that comes along with this name, that may be in their benefit. But I think they would probably have to work to see what's permitted from a temporary sign standpoint upon opening, and then what the city will allow for building signage, window signage, and if there's any kind of freestanding or pylon signs.
Okay, thank you.
All right, anybody on my left? Wow. Recognizing Commissioner Fox.
I understand, sir, that you're opening a legitimate business, and I think that's a wonderful idea. My only concern is the actual plaza that you're in. You know, you got the Kroger, and then you've got all these little small stores. And there's a lot of people that just kind of walk around aimlessly. And I go through there, I don't know, once or twice a month. And I have seen prostitution, I'm serious. I've seen that happen. And I was sitting in the parking lot at Kroger, and I was doing something, and I noticed someone just a little ways from me doing some sort of deal. And I don't like to see that in Westland,
No.
but I'm just concerned that you're trying to do something nice, and the area is just not a good area for what you're trying to do. I don't want to see your business go down and become one of those illegitimate type locations because of the area that it's in. You know, I would like, and also, well,
I
if you do decide to
understand.
go.
I
and
did
if-
see numerous
Yes.
homeless people behind the Kroger there.
Yes, yes, and there's always people milling around in front of Kroger, which I know they're trying to deal with that themselves. But, and I know this is what you want to do, and you definitely would need to change the name, but just wary of the people that are walking around wanting to possibly do harm to you or to someone in your establishment or customer.
That was initially when I spoke to the people in the front office a few months ago. The city man had said, I went in there, he said, there's 4 cameras in there. Is that so that you can get out of there if you need to? And I said, no, it's so that we can see if a customer walks in, you can see them and you can see the people walking around, because I said they're security cameras is what they are for sure, and they are. I noticed.
Okay, all right.
I noticed. Thank you.
On my right, recognizing Commissioner Hopkins. Thank you.
Sorry. Mr. Carrion, you had stated that your girlfriend owned it prior?
She purchased a business, the business, the actual business from whoever was previously in there. I wish I had more details on it. I don't. Told me it was hers, and then the city came in and said, this is not currently licensed. And nobody has conducted business since then. She asked me about it. Would you consider putting your name on it, being the owner of this? She is Korean. There's a lot she doesn't understand. And I said I would consider doing this if we changed it into more than just a massage parlor. If it was going to be a spa, if we could offer a good service that was legitimate without.
Was she the owner of it when the police investigations earlier this year confirmed that there was prostitution going on?
No, she was not.
Okay. That's all I have.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Stashow?
Yes, I have a couple comments also. I definitely would be against a 9 to 11. I mean, right there, that stigma is telling everybody that there's something that isn't quite right. And I think that if you want to run a legitimate business, that I don't see any reason why you need to be open till 11 o'clock. That's my opinion.
I understand completely.
Okay.
And like I said, I'm very willing to talk about that. If
yeah.
I would like to get some business after work. Like I said, maybe the 5 till 9 or something like that. I totally understand.
Yeah, people shop.
Yes.
You know, I mean, they make time. So. Yeah, I don't believe that something like that would be necessary at 11
But
o'clock.
I understand. I've spoken, like I said, even the paperwork was done a few months ago when it was first presented to me, and I was like, what are the hours? And I said, I don't know, 9 to 11 or something, and I wrote it on there. And we've all talked about it since then, going, that doesn't look good. So I understand. Thank you.
Okay, and then there's a paragraph here that said, according to the police department, the business was ordered by the court to be forfeited, and perhaps that's how you may have obtained the business.
I'm thinking. Yes.
Would you like to make a comment on that statement?
I can't. I don't know enough about it as to who had it prior to me. I don't know.
Okay, okay. Also, to the lady that's in the audience here, will she be part of your business?
Yes.
Okay. And is she able to come up to the podium?
Hi, good evening.
Hi.
My name is In.
Okay, if you could speak into the microphone, please.
Okay. Yeah, my name is In Lim. I have a state of Michigan license for massage therapy.
Okay, and that's currently up to date, your license is?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and how long have you, I presume that you're in the business of, is it the massage part, or is it the facial, or what type of background do you personally have, just for general information?
Personally, I do have a straight massage license. I've been doing since 2012.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been over 10 years.
Okay, and then you will be part of the business or management. Where will you fit in relationship to the business?
I'm going to work for him as a massage therapist.
I'm sorry?
I'm going to work as a massage therapist.
In the massage therapy? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody additionally on my right? Recognizing Daryl Rounds.
Hey, good evening, Mr. Kerrigan. How are you, sir?
I'm good.
So kind of piggybacking off of fellow commissioner, how many employees does the business have currently?
Currently, it's not a business yet, but the intention would be to start with this lady here and have a manager.
Yeah, because I was counting the rooms. I'm just trying, like, so.
It's a big place.
Yeah, so what do you think, how many employees do you think you're gonna have?
I would like to think that a year from now, I had 3 or 4 people in there.
And at this point, do you have an ascertainment of whether or not they, I mean, besides her, if they're licensed?
I would need a manager, and I would need, I'm starting with her, which obviously the hours would be small right now. I would probably have her do 8 hours a day. That's, I don't want to overwork anybody. And if the business is good, then I recruit more.
I mean, but as far as the employees will, like, so you don't have an ascertainment as to whether or not they're licensed?
Yeah, they would have to be licensed.
Okay. I just wanted to get it on the record.
Yes. No, I'm not just talking about recruiting people. Come on in, you know.
But right now, you don't have that.
I'm planning on starting with 1 person. I've got to see if the business.
With the administration giving you the rules for the state, is the business required to be licensed?
I believe so, yeah.
Do you have that license?
That's the business?
Does the business, well, you don't have a business yet. So.
That's what I'm saying, I don't know.
The business has never had a city business license. That's
Okay.
different than the special land use approval.
All right. So I guess where I'm going with that is that, I mean, it's hard for me to approve something when you don't have the necessary requirements fulfilled in order. So I know that she just asked for like a conditional approval, but with everything that's going on, just personally, I don't feel comfortable approving it. So we just need to make sure, like, from where I sit, that everything is done properly before it can get, like, even my consideration. Does that make sense?
Okay.
I just wanted.
It sounds like we jumped the gun on something, like I need to get a license first.
Can I interject, please?
Recognizing the administration.
Thank you. Special land use is the first process for a new massage establishment. Once special land use is obtained, then the business owner can obtain a massage establishment city business license. And then between then, before then, or after then, they can obtain their state approvals then. There's some confusion, I think, because this business location and perhaps establishment has been open prior in the past without any sort of approvals. And I am just now, like you, learning about some of this stuff as well.
The chair is curious. Can the license application process be begun before the special land use approval is made?
The petitioner can fill out and submit an application, but it is oftentimes put on hold, definitely not approved until the special land use approval is approved.
Understood. Thank you.
And I have done that, right?
You may, I can't verify, but I think you may have filled out the massage establishment business
for it.
license.
Yeah.
Okay.
Reclaiming the floor. Anybody on my left? Anybody additionally on my right? Seeing none. So normally I don't offer much. I believe that I have a few things that I should say here. So for you to be successful, I see that a vision as more of a day spa would be more acceptable. I understand that you want to do business after people get off work, and certainly the concern here is the difference between holistic medicine or holistic therapy treatments and the threat of moral turpitude.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly you've got the essence of moral turpitude that you're trying to whisk away here.
Right.
And one of the concerns that I'm hearing from my panel, and I think you should be very well aware of it and well apprised, is when you run mice through a maze, they get trained to go to where the cheese is, because that's what they want.
I understand.
And if you move the cheese, they're still going to show back up to where the cheese was, even though you've changed it and it's no longer cheese. So what I'm getting at with my analogy is that you need to be careful because some of your customers may show up expecting a thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that is certainly what my colleague to my right was concerned about.
Okay.
As far as our concern, the administration is recommending a recommendation for disapproval. In order for us to fashion a recommendation for approval, I'm fairly certain that there are some issues that this board is going to want you to address before they would be comfortable making that. I believe that I've heard an adjustment of business hours to daylight hours, which would be appropriate for the motion. Certainly, a showing that you've applied for the appropriate licensing would be an allaying concern.
Mm-hmm. I have applied for it.
That's fantastic.
Okay, just so you know.
So there's also some concerns that I have, and some of the questions that you heard might have been probing towards this. There would be some concerns of a relationship between yourself and the former owners.
Okay.
It would be,
Yeah, I understand that.
definitely part of our concern, and not just our concern, but certainly the concern of of any approving body.
Yeah.
That,
I have no affiliation with the people that
they would be
were in our
reapproving a business entity that they previously had issues with, just with a different face in front.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to need to address that and address it very, very succinctly. That being said, and thank you very much, everybody, for your patience with me, a motion is in order.
Okay, I'll make it.
Very good then. I recognize Sam Durante for a motion.
I move that case number 1887Q, special land use approval for massage parlor, be sent to, wait a minute. I should have had
This is a special case. Please close the public hearing, waive the normal rules.
There's no, it's not a public hearing.
This one is.
Okay, close. I'm sorry.
No apologies necessary.
Based on the history of noncompliance with local ordinances and the police and court records of this massage location, I recommend denial.
Very good. Confirming the language, if that's okay.
Okay.
The motion is to close public hearing, waive the normal rules, and based on the history of noncompliance with local ordinances, as the petition suggests, it is the opinion of the Planning Commission that this matter be forwarded to the City Council with a recommendation for denial.
Support.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. That is the sum and substance of the motion. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Commissioner Hopkins. Roll call, please. Just so that we're aware, a roll call vote of yes on this matter indicates denial. A roll call answer of no on this matter indicates that you would recommend.
Okay.
Everybody clear? Fantastic. Administration.
This is a roll call vote to deny case number 1887Q with the reasons stated on the record. Durante,
Yes.
Folks,
Yes.
Hobbs,
Yes.
Hopkins.
Yes.
Richards.
Yes.
Rounds.
Yes.
Stachow,
No.
Swokus,
No.
Rappaport.
No. That should send the appropriate message. I believe that was enough yes votes
Yes.
to send it to
Yes.
City Council with a recommendation for denial?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
So this matter is not over. The City Council does watch our meeting minutes. They will have heard you, but please make sure that you're ready to pursue your case in front of them. We should have stated quite clearly our positions.
Concerns, yeah.
So thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Good luck to you. With that, I would like to move on to item number 6. And for that item, I will recognize Commissioner Stachow for her motion.
Okay. And this is for the motion for the changing of the day that I had previously requested.
That should be sufficient to get us into
Yes,
discussion.
and going from Tuesday,
Chair
December
recognizes
3rd.
a motion for consideration of change of day of meeting.
From the Tuesday, December 3rd to Wednesday, December 4th.
Very good. There is now discussion open. Oh, sorry. First, I need a second.
Support.
Supported by Swokus. Discussion is now open. Anybody on my right for discussion? Anybody on my left? Actually, I should have started with you, Deanna. Would you care to speak in support of your motion?
Yes, in fact, I would. The Hellenic Center is having a fundraiser, and it's a festive occasion that takes place every year. And it is open to the general public and anyone who wishes to buy tickets would be able to, but I think at this point you might even have to go on a waiting list. So, but at this point in time, I thank all the workers that do have this fundraiser because it's for definitely a good cause.
Very good. Anybody on my right? Anybody additionally on my left? Quick question. And nobody has a conflict with that Wednesday, correct? Seeing none, administration?
No, thank you for asking.
Well, you're welcome. I personally have no objection. I'll do this, no need for a roll call vote there has been a motion made and seconded. I need to close discussion.
Any dissent?
Yep, I need to close discussion, and then we will vote on the matter. Any dissent for close of discussion? Hearing none, discussion is closed. All those in favor of changing the date of our next meeting from Tuesday to that Wednesday, please indicate so. Aye?
Aye.
Those opposed, nay? The ayes have it. Very good, then. We're going to pass on commissioners' comments. I think everybody's going to be in agreement on that, unless anybody would like to raise their voice at this time, recognizing.
Make a motion, we adjourn?
That's the next on the agenda. All you got to do is be quiet for a moment.
Call the question.
Last item on the agenda is adjournment. So sorry.
I'll support Sam.
Motion has been made and supported. Those in favor, please indicate so. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are in adjournment. Thank you very much, everybody.